Giselle, moving on. AI dubbing, right? We are talking about it a lot. It's a hot topic in the industry nowadays. And I wanted to ask you what, in your opinion, are the current challenges in AI dubbing? Could you share something with us?
Yes, apart from the ones I mentioned. So, based on what I have seen so far, so obviously my limited experience with the tools I have experimented with, because there are many out there now. And so based on that, and based also on the type of audiovisual production and content and genre, because that makes a huge difference. The first challenge that comes to mind is the warmth and naturalness and authenticity of the voices and role interpretation, especially when there are emotions involved. And that is why I say the type of content makes a difference, so film versus informational videos or e-learning, or fiction versus speeches or interviews. So that makes a difference, I think. Now, if you think of it, ironically, one of the challenges for voice talents, for dubbing actors, is precisely that they need to embody a character without embodying it. Their only tool is their voice. And with their voice, they have to convey emotionality and dramaticity. And in actual fact, if you had to watch them, observe them in recording studios, in this magical dark recording space, it's pretty fascinating because they are gesticulating, they're using their body in actual fact, even though it's only their voice that is being
Yeah,
conveyed.
sometimes you are seeing a person who is doing some fitness, right?
Yes, yes. It's as though, they need their body to perform, to interpret that character, even though ultimately only their voice as a tool is going to be used to express that emotion. Now, expecting a machine to replicate that emotional depth through synthetic voice performance, in my opinion, so far may possibly be one of the challenges. And expecting the audience to identify with the character's emotions and humanity when there's nothing human about the voices may possibly be challenging for the time being. Again, depending on the type of content, I think that makes a difference. So, and I refer specifically to intonation and not necessarily emphasis, because we're getting there with the tools, but more specifically authentic speech melody variation, the rising and falling tones, but also pitch, intensity, duration, dynamics, presence, all of which significantly impact the viewer's experience. So that's one of the challenges in my opinion, and I think so in certain content, certain types of content, the touch of human voice talents remains indispensable for the time being, but also linguists, because we still have challenges when it comes to synchronization based on the script, based on the adaptation, speech to body correspondence, because when we say synchronization, we also need the body language on screen to match the target language words. Lip syncing, the phonetic sync, and the rhythmic synchrony, which refers to the number of mouth flaps. So that as well could possibly be challenging for the time being. And Aga, the thing is, there are different dubbing solutions, and different technologies, even translation can pose a challenge, and many tools are trying to improve, to avoid literal translations, tilted translations, but even transcription. So, for instance, I've seen that automated transcription can cause mistranslations, especially in languages, not maybe in English, but in other languages, with where speakers use an accent or a dialect or a cadence. I was experimenting with Moroccan Arabic recently with Darija. No, so the errors in transcription were then carried over in translation, and then the adaptation, and then in the voice, and then in the entire pipeline. So
Totally.
this is what comes to mind so far.
Yes, I totally agree. It's all about the preparation, right? If we give the wrong input from the very beginning, just what you said, right? Transcription, starting with
Starting from
transcription.
transcription, yeah.
Yes, transcription and translation, then the output won't be perfect either, right? So it's also
Mhm.
a matter of preparing the first step. By first step, I mean transcription and translation, right? Well,
Mhm.
and then moving on to voicing that text, right?
Yes.
Of course, having in mind all the different challenges that dubbing is related to, right? Like mouth
Mhm,
flaps
mhm,
and
mhm.
synchro and so on and so forth, right?
Exactly. So
So
every phase can have its challenges, basically, depending on the tools and how
exactly.
effective they
But
are.
what we can say from the very beginning is that the text has to be prepared well, and only then we can start the whole adventure, right?
Mhm.
With voicing this,
Agreed.
because without a good script, we don't even. I mean, there is no point in starting. I would say, right? There is just a waste. It is
Yes,
just
yes.
a waste of time.
This applies to traditional dubbing as well. Like it is, the
Exactly.
foundation. Everything depends on that, on the
Exactly.
scripts.
How many times, right? Translate. I mean, the translator adapter, right, did a good job, of course, prepared the script, but still, during the recording, right, some things get changed
Yes.
because of the director's vision, because of the intonation, because of something, right? Because the scene was interpreted in a different way. However, having a good text, right, it's the fundament of introducing these changes. Because without a good text, right, those changes wouldn't even be possible because people would get stuck
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
close the recording immediately, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly. And the company does not call the
Yeah, and there is no time for anything in
translator.
today's times. So, yeah, that's right. That's right.